My wife was caught holding hands with another man. Now I'm being gaslit about it.
Yep, no, that's instant divorce.
My wife, 36 female, and I, 40 male, have been together 5 years and got married last year. We definitely have our ups and downs, but we're generally happy. On Friday, she went out with people from her work for Christmas drinks and arrived home around midnight. Absolutely hammered. She just said she'd had a good time and went straight to bed. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Holding Hands, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
Oh, I thought you were Superman. And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, yesterday I got a message on Instagram from an anonymous account claiming to be one of her colleagues, saying she'd been flirting all night with one of the guys from the office, 44 male, and they'd left together at about 9 to walk to the train station. But she got back at 12.
Well, that means you were holding hands for 3 hours.
The colleague had a couple more drinks, then went to the station herself and says she saw my wife walking hand in hand with the guy through the station at about 10:45. Last night, I showed her the message and asked for an explanation. She claimed she was so wasted she doesn't remember anything after 8 p.m. Awfully convenient. I asked if she went somewhere with the guy after they left the group, and she checked the location history on her phone, which confirmed they had gone to a bar near the station for about an hour. She gave me her phone and insisted I check it. There were no suspicious messages or anything. As far as I could tell, she doesn't have the guy's number, and they're not following each other on Instagram or friends on Facebook. I asked if she was flirting with him, and she admitted she was talking mostly to him all night, but that's just because he's the only person in her office she has anything in common with, and they're just friends. She's mentioned this guy to me before and said how much they have in common.
All of this has so far maintained plausible deniability.
I agree. Because she came home pretty hammered. She could have no memory. I asked if they were holding hands, and she said she doesn't remember but doesn't think so. She claims to know who sent me the message and says it's a woman in the office who hates her, although she doesn't know why. Today she's been in a terrible mood and we've not really spoken. So that's where we are. I'm not sure what to do. And there's an update 9 days later. Any thoughts? I think that there's plausible deniability, but now I'd be like a little bit more hesitant about, my wife and her relationship with this guy. Just be a little more suspicious.
Yeah, I don't know if it's time to do anything.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
Oh, talk to the guy.
Oh.
Maybe talk to the guy.
I don't know.
And just be like, hey, man, it's just man to man.
Man
I
to
need
man.
to know, were you
Man.
holding my wife's hand
Did you
for
hold
3
her hand?
hours last night?
How long were you holding her hand? Let me know. Sam came home from work on Monday and casually said she's spoken with the guy, Tom, and he'd confirmed they hadn't held hands. They'd just been walking arm in arm because she was wasted and wearing heels. I asked why her colleague Helen would make an Instagram account, track me down, and message me saying they had held hands if it wasn't true. She said Helen is basically in love with Tom and made a pass at him just after his divorce, but he rejected her. I asked why Helen would feel threatened by her. She said because her and Tom are friends and Helen's a crazy jealous witch. I asked why she went for a drink, just her and Tom. She said that according to Tom, they walked past this bar with an amazing live band playing, so they stopped in for a drink. Her only regret was doing too many shots too early and getting crap-faced. The next day, she went shopping after work and came home with a new dress. I asked what the occasion was, and she said her work Christmas party. Last week was just drinks with people from her office. The company Christmas party is on Friday. I hardly slept that night. The next day, I decided to reply to the Instagram message to get some more info. I asked if she thought anything was going on with them. Helen quickly replied with a long message saying they flirt at work and everyone's noticed. Apparently, Sam was going to be let go, but Tom put in a good word, so she kept her job. Tom protects her in the office and will constantly defend her. She also said Sam witches about me to the whole office, and it's clear we don't have a happy marriage. I asked if she was going to the Christmas party, and she said she was. She said she'd update me if anything happened. I think you have to say, "Give me the footage. I need footage."
So I think you take all of that, and what you take away from it should be that your wife is unhappy with your marriage and isn't talking to you about it.
Well, but is that true? Or is this another Helen lie?
What I would take away from that is just checking in with
Yeah, check in with wife.
my spouse,
See
and
if
then
that
if
is
that,
any
then
truth.
you can figure out if it's a lie just on that alone.
Yeah.
It's the good old one tells truths and one only tells lies.
One of us always lies. Helen or Sam? Sam finished work early on Friday, so she had time to get ready. She looked amazing, and I really didn't want her to go, but I felt like I couldn't say anything. They all left just before 11 and were at the new bar by 10 past. Sam and Tom turned up just before midnight. Sam arrived home about 2 a.m., not quite as wasted as last time, and went straight to sleep. When Sam woke up, I just asked her straight out if she cheated on me with Tom last night. She angrily denied it. I told her I knew she'd been to Tom's house. She accused me of spying on her, called me controlling, said she was going to stay with her sister. I demanded an explanation, and she said she went to his house so they could smoke a joint before heading to the bar. I thought you didn't remember any of that. Pretty freaking suspicious. She wouldn't reply to my messages or answer my calls on all day Sunday. I called her sister, who said she hadn't seen her, but she texted me later that she'd spoken to Sam and she was okay. Sam came home yesterday morning. I asked where she'd been, and she just said she couldn't do this anymore and wants a divorce. She went to start packing some clothes while I tried to get her to talk to me. I asked if she was leaving me for Tom. She once again denied anything inappropriate had happened between them, but said my jealousy was the final straw. It's clear I don't trust her. I'm controlling. I take her for granted. She's deeply unhappy. Has been for a while.
Why haven't we talked about that?
Yeah, why
then?
didn't you mention any of this until you freaking cheated on OP?
Yeah, it just sounds like that's
Even
the case.
if it's not physical, it's definitely emotional.
Yeah. So she's gone. It looks like I'll be spending my first Christmas alone. I have no idea if she was telling the truth or if it was an affair, and there is a second update. I don't think she would react that harshly.
Yeah, it seems like she's
if she weren't.
kept all of her problems and resentments in regards to y'all's marriage locked inside.
Except
And-
at work, where she tells everyone.
Yeah. And now she's found a perfect opportunity to say, hey, look at you being all jealous.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. You're crazy.
And poor Helen, trying to tell the truth, be a good citizen.
I was a Helen believer,
Yeah.
okay, from day one.
Day 1. Update 2, 20 days after last update. Once she was gone, Sam blocked me on all her social media and refused to return my messages or answer my calls. I ended up traveling to the other side of the country to spend Christmas with my parents. On Christmas Eve, Sam came home and took more of her stuff. I watched her on our security cameras. I tried phoning her, but she ignored my calls. Christmas wasn't great, and my parents were both shocked and in denial about what had happened. They had no idea we were having issues and insisted Sam would come to her senses and come home. I returned home on the 27th. I'd been getting sporadic updates from Sam's sister, just letting me know she's all right, but without any details. Before all this happened, we'd made plans to spend New Year's Eve at Sam's favorite bar in the city. I went on my own, but she didn't show up. On Tuesday night, I received an Instagram message from Helen saying Sam and Tom had arrived at work together in Tom's car. On Wednesday night, she sent another message saying Sam was poisoning the office against her and that Tom was pushing upper management to transfer her to another office or get rid of her. No. Sam's
With her
poisoning the office
behavior.
against Helen.
I revoke my claps.
She begged me to do something. What is OP supposed to do? OP doesn't work there. I texted Sam and said we needed to talk, but she didn't reply. So the next day I called her work switchboard, gave a fake name, and got put through. I could tell she wasn't happy to hear my voice, but she agreed to meet up after work at a local pub and talk. I got there early, and she arrived 25 minutes late. She apologized for ignoring my calls and said she still cares about me and wants to end things on good terms. I said, just tell me the truth. She promised she wasn't having an affair with Tom and they were just friends. She admitted they talked a lot in the office, but insisted it wasn't an emotional affair. She understands why I was suspicious after the Instagram message, but said I should have accepted her denial and trusted her. She has a lot of male friends, but felt like she couldn't hang out with them because I'd get jealous. I pointed out I've never told her not to hang out with anyone, but she said I'd be in a mood whenever she'd hang out with a guy friend. She feels like we only got married to try and fix a relationship that was already broken. Our conversations have devolved into small talk and we've drifted apart. I said I heard she and Tom arrived at work together. Sam said she went to Tom's after I accused her of cheating and knew it was over between us.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wait, the next
accused me of cheating.
They spent the weekend together and agreed they'd make a better couple than we did. Yeah, I'm sure nothing happened between y'all. She needed me to know that nothing happened between them until after she told me she wanted a divorce. And now they were together. Tom was waiting outside for her in the car. All I could do was stand up and walk out. Sam texted me saying she knew I was upset, but not to do anything stupid. I blocked her number. I'm not gonna lie, it was a rough night. The next day, I was just numb. Didn't really do much. Over the weekend, I dug out our marriage certificate so I can start divorce proceedings. I've no idea what to say to Helen, so I haven't replied. I think the plan now is to try and find a new job closer to my hometown. I've moved across the country to live with Sam, and I've never really felt settled here. I also don't want to run into her and Tom around town. Luckily, we rent. And there is a third update, folks. Let's get into it.
What?
My soon-to-be ex-wife is pregnant and has suggested to her friend that it's mine. The only way this is possible if she's had our final frozen embryo implanted without my permission. I'm waiting for a call back from the clinic, but I'm freaking out and want to get an idea of the potential consequences. Edit, I've finally spoken to the clinic manager, and it seems this is all down to my own stupidity. When our last embryo didn't take, we signed all the paperwork a few weeks later to do the final transfer. My wife then developed some hormonal issues, so we paused the process until she could get it sorted out. Then, for various reasons, we decided not to proceed with the transfer, which she told the clinic. Apparently, they just paused the process for up to 3 years in order to protect our deposit, and the consent forms remained valid. My wife had the transfer 6 weeks ago. Wow.
What is wrong with your ex-wife, bro?
Why?
What?
She literally left you and then had your baby?
Yeah, she's like, this relationship was already broken. We just got married to try to save it. I know what to do. I'll have your child.
What? Update 4. I'm 41 male, about to move in with my pregnant ex-wife, 37 female. How can we make this work? Don't. Don't do that. Literally don't do that.
How to make that work? Yeah.
My ex-wife is pregnant with our first child due on Christmas Eve. We broke up last Christmas and I moved back in with my parents 200 plus miles away. She started a relationship with a coworker which caused so much drama at her work that in February, she reached a mutual agreement that she would immediately resign in exchange for 6 months' salary.
Dang, she's a mess.
That's crazy.
They literally are like, we'll pay you 6 months of salary
to
just
leave.
Get out.
The relationship ended and she used the settlement money to restart the IVF process we'd paused years earlier.
Oh my, what?
This lady is a mess.
Why would you do that? You could have done anything.
When I found out she was pregnant, I contacted the IVF clinic, who explained that the contracts we'd signed at the start of the process were still valid and they hadn't done anything wrong. I disagreed and hired solicitors specializing in clinical negligence and contract law. They managed to negotiate a settlement with the clinic in lieu of legal action, and my ex and I ended up with about 80K pounds each after fees. I'm sorry, she got 80K? She wanted this.
Whatever, good. You can use that for the kid.
Plus, the clinic updated their processes to require consent to be reconfirmed by both parties before any embryo transfer takes place. For the last 4 months, I've been in regular contact with my ex, discussing settlement negotiations and traveling down south for scans. When I asked why she did it, she just said she knew this was her last chance to have a baby, and when she came into some money, she took it as a sign she should go ahead with the embryo transfer, before I remembered to withdraw consent.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Literally disgusting.
Hey, you know what? If you're too old to have a kid, you can always adopt.
Literally. There's so many other options that didn't involve like coercing your ex-partner into a parent, like into a parenting situation. She's since been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which in her mind has absolved her of any responsibility for her actions.
Oh, the opposite of how it works. Oh,
She's
no.
desperate for us to get back together and raise our son as a family. I'm not interested in being a couple, but I obviously don't want to be 200 miles away from my son. I've got a new job, so I really didn't want to move back down to Hampshire, but she's willing to move up to Yorkshire as long as we live together. So we agreed to spend the settlement money on a house in my hometown. This is a bad idea.
No.
This is such a bad idea.
Buddy, you are not. This
do
kid
that.
is not set up for success.
Don't do that. Just don't do that. Just try and get custody. I don't know. I picked up the keys last week, and I've been furnishing and decorating in preparation for us moving in next week. My ex has no friends or family around here and no job. Us living together is going to be super awkward, but once the baby comes, I'm hoping we can get into a co-parenting routine. The new house has 3 bedrooms, so we'll have 1 each and 1 for our son. We've agreed not to see other people for at least 3 years. Her request.
What?
I don't see us rekindling a romantic relationship, but in an ideal world, we'll live together for a few years, then sell the house, by which point she'll be settled here and we can live close to each other and co-parent our son. I hope I'm not being unbelievably naive and making a huge mistake. My parents are excited to be grandparents, but they're not keen on the idea of us living together. Yeah, no one's keen on this. This is a terrible idea. And there is an update. Update 5, I'm 41 male, about to move back in with my pregnant ex-wife. How can we make this work 3 months after last update? To say my last post got a negative response would be an understatement. It was a strange feeling reading all the replies saying what a mistake I was making after putting in so much thought and spending lots of time and effort to get where I was. Someone sent me a link to a TikTok of my previous posts. Hearing the worst time of my life being read out loud. Sorry, dude.
Hey, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
It made me realize I hadn't even began to process what happened last Christmas or why, and I contacted a therapist the next day. Good. Sam moved in the day before my first appointment. It was awkward, but she was busy organizing her new room, so I just left her to it. That night, we ordered pizza and watched a movie. It was nice. Okay. I met the therapist the next day and explained the situation. He thought the whole thing was a bad idea. Yeah, that makes sense.
Him and everybody else, my guy.
She got you with the pregnancy, dude.
She really baby trapped you. But as we were now living together, he agreed to help us navigate things as smoothly as possible. He thought couples therapy would be the best option. Sam and I have seen him every week since then and gone through our entire relationship. After 4 miscarriages, the last 2 at 12 plus weeks, absolutely wrecked Sam's mental health, I started cooling on the idea of continuing to try for a child. Instead of talking to Sam, she so desperately wanted to be a mom, I thought it would break her. I just pulled away from her, which is probably where a lot of those relationship troubles started.
Yeah.
Of course, she noticed and blamed herself and began spiraling. Couple this with undiagnosed bipolar disorder and the hormone issue which resulted from the IVF, and it was a recipe for disaster. Sam thought, possibly correctly, that I wanted out of the relationship but was too cowardly to come out and say it, so I just checked out and waited for her to get sick of me. The whole Tom situation was the straw that broke the camel's back, and she gave up fighting for our marriage and let me get out guilt-free. In therapy, I've learned to accept my responsibility for the breakup of our marriage. I wasn't a good husband towards the end, and it's a miracle Sam stuck around as long as she did. The time apart made me realize how much I still love her. We've agreed to try and embrace what has happened and be thankful it brought us to where we are now. So we're now back living as a couple. I canceled the divorce, which was taking ages as Sam refused to engage with it. Our son was born on December 11th, 2 weeks earlier than expected, and he's absolutely perfect. I'm holding him as I write this. I know a lot of people who read my previous posts will be disappointed with how I've handled this, but at the end of the day, We've only got one chance at life, and I honestly can't think of a better way to spend mine.
I mean, I'm not really disappointed. I'm more just concerned.
concerned.
It feels like you've done
Just
everything that was
worried.
correct
Yeah.
morally.
And
But
then had to come back. Thanks for all your advice over the past year, and Merry Christmas. And there is a 6th update. It doesn't seem like it gets better from here. Seems like it might get a little worse. Update 6. Can I take my son out of the country without his mother's express permission? And 5 months after last update. My wife gave birth to our son in December. She suffers from untreated bipolar disorder, and after Christmas she developed severe PPD. We agreed she'd go and stay with her mom for a week as she was spiraling and needed a break. She never came back, and we're no longer in direct contact.
Oh,
my
she
good-
disappeared off the
How?
face of the planet after she
She
had the
baby
baby.
trapped you, had the baby, and then left you with the kid. Our last conversation was over a month ago, and it didn't go well. She apparently has no interest in being in our son's life or even getting updates on him. As far as I know, she still lives with her mom 200 plus miles away.
Well, good. She probably wouldn't have been good for the kid.
No
And you're going to be a
way.
great dad.
Yeah.
And you're going to find another partner
Who doesn't suck?
who embraces your child.
But I have interest in you guys listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Get all the stuff that she's saying about not wanting to be a parent in writing, and then do whatever you want.
Yeah. And then make sure she stays not a parent. Anyway, I've been offered a secondment at my company's Swedish office, covering maternity leave for a year.
Yeah, Swedish.
I
Yeah.
want to take it, but I don't want to tell my wife, as she would likely try to throw a spanner in the works. I have my son's passport and original birth certificate. Can I just go without telling her? I think you need to get custody. I think you need to take all of the evidence that she has left you and your son and hasn't been around, and then use that to get full custody of your son. We also own a house together, which I'd like to rent out while I'm away. If she turns up out of the blue and finds someone else living here, could she do anything? There's no mortgage and all the bills are in my name, but she's on the deeds. Oof. To be clear, if she ever decides to unblock me and wants to see her son, then of course we'd come back. I'm not looking to take him away from her forever, but I think this would be good for us. And that is the end of that story. I mean, personally,
I think you're naive.
talk to a lawyer.
You're naive thinking that that's just going to become good. I don't know. She needs to treat her bipolar.
Yeah, but that's not really
She needs to
anything that we
take
can do
her
about that.
mental health seriously. And if
just
she's not going to
around.
do that, this cycle is just going to go and go over and over and over again.
I think you just have to kind of like stay apart from her, regardless of whether or not she comes back.
My husband prioritizes his sick mother over us, and it's starting to ruin our family.
I'm sick of this.
And there's a trigger warning for mentions of abuse. I never really post on Reddit, but I need advice because I don't know what to do anymore. My husband and I have been married for a decade. We have 5 children, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, a decision we made together. By the way, this comes from user meanbutterfly4526. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just goofy little gang. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. OP says, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with high blood pressure. She refused to take her prescribed medication, believing all she needed to do was pray and fast for healing. Well, 3 years ago, she had a stroke that left her with aphasia and wheelchair-bound about 80% of the time. She spent many months in the hospital, and when she was discharged, my husband went over for a couple of weeks to help her settle in. A caretaker and nurse were hired to help her. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law is a difficult patient, and she has cycled through many caretakers and nurses. She has been physically and verbally harmful to her care team. For example, one evening, a caretaker called because my mother-in-law fired her at 3 a.m. and threw objects at her when the caretaker told her she couldn't leave until someone else came over to take care of her. All this commotion led to my husband spending more and more time at my mother-in-law's, trying to sort out her care. Initially, he would drive to her place after work every other day to check that all was in order. His mother lives an hour away from us, so driving back and forth after work was strenuous. He asked to sleep over there instead of driving back. Over time, his sleepovers at my mother-in-law's became more frequent and extended. Last month, he only spent 1 week at home with me and the children. The rest of the month was spent at his mother's. Last time he was home, our youngest was afraid of him because he thought he was a stranger.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. That's like a wake-up call, though.
Yeah, it should be. I have raised this issue with him, but he accuses me of being heartless and uncaring. He tells me that his mother needs him. During our call yesterday, I told him that I was thinking of divorce because I am currently living as a single parent, and he didn't take it too kindly. Yeah, who would take that kindly?
Hopefully he wakes up, though.
I mean, look, you cannot just swing divorce around unless you really mean it, first of all.
Which I think she does.
But
I think she's tired of this.
It's not like he's hanging out with the boys.
No.
His mom had a stroke.
Yeah.
And refuses to let others take care of her.
Yeah. I think he's in a very tough situation, but also needs to kind of listen to what I don't think he's hearing what OP's saying.
Yeah. Well, we have some comments. Comment 1. His mom needs to be moved into a care home that is equipped to handle her. He is a dad, and he can't abandon his family over 75% of the time. It's harming his relationship with you and the kids. My whole thing is I feel like there's so many more solutions to this way before we're like, all right, we're going to divorce unless this stops.
Yeah.
Like that seemed like a miscalculation. Don't threaten divorce unless you're ready to go down that path. It is not an empty threat, and it's not something you can always come back from. There's a reply, add to the above comment that they will also be multiple people on each shift, so they're not getting burned out dealing with her behavior. And another reply, as someone that works in skilled nursing, I can tell you that facilities do get burnt out. And if the patient is so bad that they can't provide care to her, they will find a way to get her out of the facility. I've seen it done many times. And once she starts getting a name across town, it'll be difficult to find placement for her. Another reply, as someone who has worked in multiple SNFs and ALFs, and I've done home care, I can guarantee that there will be a facility that lets her stay no matter how cantankerous she may be, as long as she can pay for her stay. It may not be a top-notch facility, and she may get some sleepy time meds, but they'll keep her. Another reply, and there are people that enjoy working with the feisty people. I love the TBI units, and will seek out facilities that have them when I'm looking for work. I will take care of your punchy grandma. And there is another comment. Last time he was home, our youngest was afraid of him because he thought he was a stranger. So what was his reaction to this? Because quite frankly, if this wasn't a wake-up call for him, I'm not sure anything else you say would be. A reply says, if it was a wake-up call, OP wouldn't be posting. Her husband has the mindset of, I care for my mother, so you care for the rest. He's counting on I'm dad to give him a relationship with his wife and kids. But if he's not around, they're going to move on without you. Life doesn't stop when you leave your family. Your kids grow up without you. Your wife gets by without you. And eventually, you're just not necessary. Comment 3, it's not really realistic for his mom to be at home anymore. It's time for her to go into a care home. I know no one wants to do that, but he can't sustain this. Not just because his family needs him, and they do, which is more than enough of a reason, but because this will only get more demanding. Comment 4, I would just get a lawyer. He knows what he's doing. He has other options, but he won't take them. And he's making you and the kids pay the price because his mother is such an a-hole that she gave caregivers a hard time.
I don't know. I feel like that
It's been a month, people.
I feel like that comment's a little harsh to be like, the man who's taking care of a sick mother knows what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing at all.
No one knows what they're doing with this.
To be clear, that's not saying that's not a problem, but I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think that's why you have to have the conversation and like figure out a way to fix this.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm skipping that one. There's an edit, though. I see comments asking the same question, so I'm going to answer some here. My husband is my mother-in-law's only child. Our youngest is 15 months old. I spent most of the pregnancy alone because of this situation. I had to drive our older children to extracurricular activities while I was heavily pregnant.
So I don't think it's been just a month.
Right. Well, I think the staying at her place has just been a month.
Yes.
He was at his mother's when I went into labor, and our neighbor drove me to the hospital while his wife took care of our children.
Dang.
Yeah, that's
Which is like, still a problem, clearly. But like something that needs to be addressed. And if he's not willing to address it, then this is an issue. But yeah.
I did not expect the number of children we have to be controversial. I only mentioned our 5 children to provide context on this issue. I don't want to go into specifics, but how and why we have 5 children is more complicated than you might imagine. Our house was bought by my father-in-law for our family. He was a staunch Christian who believed in family values, so he bought this house to support our marriage and family. He was a voice of reason and often played the role of marriage counselor. We miss him terribly. My mother-in-law does behave better when my husband is around because he knows how to calm her down. Even though she is harmful, my husband knows how to de-escalate. She has not been diagnosed with dementia. When we spoke about a care home, my husband was not willing to consider it because my mother-in-law is attached to her home, and he was told that moving her to a place where she's unfamiliar with her surroundings may cause her to deteriorate. He also said there are many horror stories of elderly abuse at care homes, which is true. We spoke again after my post. He was weeping, saying that his mother is passing away and he wants to spend as much time as possible with her before she passes. He said threatening divorce was cruel.
I mean, there's not care home is not the only option. I've had kind of both experiences. My grandfather on my mom's side was in a care home because he was dealing with dementia. And then on my dad's side, my grandmother, they have like a person an in-home carer who comes and helps and stuff. And so that wouldn't necessarily mean that he's, fully not, like he would still be going and stuff and helping out, but he would probably be doing a lot less work. Like a lot of that burden would be lifted.
Yeah.
So there's multiple options here. It's just you guys both need to be on the same page that this isn't working the way that it's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like he is aware of that as well.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, what do I do?
He literally doesn't know what to do.
Am I supposed to just like let my mom just like fall apart? I don't know. There's another edit. There are a couple of things I want to clarify. My husband is supervising the nurses and caregivers who care for my mother-in-law. The caregivers and nurses are board-certified professionals with experience in elderly care. Her behavior is more agreeable when my husband is around, and there are fewer fits of anger. So he's not wiping my mother-in-law's bottom as someone crudely suggested. Many have asked why I allowed this issue to continue for so long. My answer is that my mother-in-law was a kind, supportive, and generous woman before the stroke. She lived with us for 3 months when we had our first baby, cooked, cleaned, and cared for the baby when I needed sleep. She was always willing to take the children when my husband and I needed some time to ourselves. The children loved visiting their Nana and Papa. Yes, I am frustrated that her refusal to take her prescription caused this chaos and that she has treated her care team poorly, but the last 3 years are not a full reflection of who she was and the life she lived. She dedicated much of her life to her family, community, and charity work, so please don't condemn her. I have read comments from those with experience in traumatic brain injury rehab, and I do believe the stroke has affected her impulse control and emotional regulation. I also want to add that the stroke happened a few months after the passing of my father-in-law. Yeah, many layers to this complicated emotional lasagna. The children and I drove to my mother-in-law's yesterday. I'm letting the kids take some time off school, and the mood instantly lifted when we arrived. As I write this, my toddler is sitting on my mother-in-law's lap having a conversation only the two of them understand. My husband and the older children are playing tag. The caregivers are also cheerful. And by the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. And we have a little bit more story here. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
When I arrived, my husband and I had a deep conversation about this issue. I apologized for threatening divorce and told him that I am feeling extremely overwhelmed and exhausted, which has affected my interactions with the children because I have become extremely impatient. We cried. We are going to have a serious conversation with my mother-in-law, hopefully later today, where we will detail how this has affected our lives suggest an assisted living facility, and give her the opportunity to provide her input. It's looking positive but uncertain. There's a very long road ahead of us and many life-changing decisions to be made.
Yeah.
And that is the end of that story. Well, it sounds like you're knocking on the door of figuring it out.
It's so hard trying to like help your aging parents, grandparents,